Because I still remember once going to visit my family in England, and I went there even as a Buddhist monk, with feelings of peace and kindness and goodwill to all beings, no matter what religion they are. And how wonderful it was to meet your family members you hadn't seen for many years. And it was true, everyone was just so kind and was so welcoming and so happy for about 5 minutes. And then the argument started. I thought, gee, is this how people live their lives? In conflict with their relatives? And apparently they do. So why do we have so much conflict? And can we find a way of lessening the conflict and easing it and not making conflict? Because my goodness, we have to live in this world together. It doesn't matter where you go, mobile phones can still reach you, so you can't escape from your relatives that easy these days. Nor can you escape your enemies, which is one of the big problems. Which is why that sometimes we make these announcements, like I'll make an announcement pretty quickly in case anyone goes during the middle of the talk, that on New Year's Eve, every year for I don't know how many years, I've held here in this premises Ajahn Brahm's New Year's Eve party. And the reason why we hold this party over here is because it's a beautiful way to welcome in the new year with no alcohol. In other words, it's a sober evening, but you still have lots of fun and enjoyment, and you don't have any conflict with anybody. And you also, after the New Year's Eve party on New Year's Eve here, we have a few surprises and other things. People like to get in their cars, and as they drive home, you look for the booze buses. You try and find them. Because it's good fun on early, just after midnight on New Year's Eve, getting stopped by the police, where they ask you, "Sir, madam, have you been drinking?" It's a silly question to ask on New Year's Eve, and you, like everyone else, say yes. Blow into the tube, madam, and you blow into the tube. "It's 0, what have you been drinking?" "Orange juice." And you can see the face of the policeman on New Year's Eve and said, "Oh, you must be one of those Buddhists." But whatever, it's good fun. And so I usually tell people on those days, on New Year's Eve, please don't just bring your friends, bring your enemies as well. They need it more than anybody else, because it's the enemies in this world need to actually lessen the conflict. And you need to lessen conflict so you don't have so many enemies. And why is it that we do create so many enemies in this world? First of all, because we're unskillful in the way we think, the way we speak, the way we act. We make enemies. And never think that the conflict is because of her fault, because of his fault, because of my parents' fault, because of the government's fault, because of the monk's fault. It's no one's fault except your own. And those of you who don't know, this is standard Buddhist teachings. If you find fault with someone else, you say it's their fault. You are someone, in Ajahn Chah's famous phrase, who's got an itch on their head and is scratching their bum. Anyone who has an itch on their head and scratches their bottom gets 2 itches for the price of 1. The itch never goes away. That's like blaming somebody else. You're scratching in the wrong place. It's something you can do to solve the conflict. And so that's trick number 1 to solve conflict. Don't think it's somebody else's fault. You can do something. And what you can usually do is to change, before you even change your speech and your actions, change your mind. Change the attitude, the way you look at these things. Because a lot of times we have this conflict because, yes, we're looking at the wrong thing.